Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is August 23rd. And this morning I am reading from a book that I just started. It's called Finding Refuge, Heart Work for Healing Collective Grief by Michelle Cassandra Johnson. And I'm reading from page 4 in the Kindle edition. To respond to the grief that we experience as a collective, we need to be present to what is breaking our hearts. We need a spiritual practice to hold and allow us to feel grounded as we begin to recognize our brokenheartedness. When we turn toward our brokenheartedness, I believe we can begin to acknowledge what we are grieving, and we can create space to grieve. As we grieve, we also tap into our own capacity to heal. We connect with our resilience and begin to piece back together the parts of ourselves that feel shattered. We come back into wholeness. And I just love that. What resonates in me as I read that is a reminder that this human journey is a journey of loss. I remember David Alt, Reverend Dr. David Alt, speaking in Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living one Sunday, and he began his talk with the statement that the moment we are all born, we enter hospice. And that really stuck with me because he's not wrong. And it's all of the attachments to this human body and my misunderstanding of spiritual principle and the spiritual journey that lead me down a road of disavowing, to spiritual bypass, if you will, the human experience. And one of the things that I'm really, really aware of these days, more so than ever before, is the collective trauma of this human experience, the collective grief of this human experience, and how so many of us are participating in spiritual bypass that perpetuates our grief rather than heals it. This idea that when it comes to our social systems and our social structure, what I'm witnessing is that we tend to separate. Right? It's all one until I have to deal with the social impact of human choice. And now it's something other than oneness. And so I personally have chosen to use the word wholeness more than oneness. Because we are a whole. We are a whole body. We are levels and levels of microcosm and macrocosm that are simply degrees of one whole thing. And the more I understand the wholeness of life, the more I understand and actively utilize the inherent power within to be a part of healing the whole. And it begins with the microcosm of me, and what we teach in Science of Mind is that what heals in one place heals every place, because we're all using the same consciousness. We're all using the same mind, same quantum field, same energy, whatever label we call it. We're all using the same substance. And so what heals in one place heals every place. And if I refuse to do the healing work that is right in front of me, if I deny that I have any part in healing the whole, I become part of continuing the woundedness, continuing to wound, continue the trauma. And so this reading offers me a reminder to be present with what is. Not to sink into a place of, oh, woe is me, but to be fully human in spiritual practice, so that I'm acknowledging that creation created me as a human being for a reason, to lean into that and to consistently, constantly align the human me, the human experience of me, with the spiritual truth of me. And that's a lot of grief work, because it's all of those places of separation that create the trauma. And so every place that trauma shows up, grief shows up. And every place that grief shows up, there's an opportunity to heal some misunderstanding of separation. We have lots available for us to heal. So I'm going to read our reading one more time and then take us into our time of meditation practice. It's 5 minutes of just inviting you to practice being present with. So let me find my reading again. Okay. Page 4, Finding Refuge. Heart Work for Healing Collective Grief by Michelle Cassandra Johnson. To respond to the grief that we experience as a collective, we need to be present to what is breaking our hearts. We need a spiritual practice to hold and allow us to feel grounded as we begin to recognize our brokenheartedness. When we turn toward our brokenheartedness, I believe we can begin to acknowledge what we are grieving, and we can create space to grieve. As we grieve, we also tap into our capacity to heal. We connect with our resilience and begin to piece back together the parts of ourselves that feel shattered. We come back into wholeness. So as I allow my breath to take me deeper into that higher vibration of recognition, recognizing there is one substance that is the source, that is life itself, that is expressing itself in the multiplicity of form. No two expressions of this one infinite substance the same. And in the multiplicity of individualized expression, there is no separation, because there can be no separation in one. I recognize this divine substance as love, life, God, peace, power, presence. I recognize it as Great Spirit, as the Great Mystery, as Buddha, as Allah. I recognize it by all of the names that futilely attempt to capture this infinite beingness. It is beyond a name. And while it changes expression, the substance is changeless. Changeless because being all that there is no thing for it to change into, and rather everything for it to express. Infinite possibility. Expanding, expressing newness with every idea, every desire, every breath. And in the wholeness, the interconnectedness, the inseparability of one, I know that it is expressing life as me. That this human iteration of creation that I call Rafe is a portal of this infinite divinity, fully infused with the creative authority, the creative process, the substance that is creation itself, and the free will, the power of choice, the activity of mind that creates is mine. And what is true of me is true of all creation. As I experience this physical realm around me, I recognize the wind is the breath of life of this one substance. The rain is the wetness of this one substance. The sun is the warmth of this one substance. Everything that moves, lives, and has its being on this physical plane is an individualized expression of this one. And that collectively we are the wholeness of creation. And I recognize that in this human experience, our sense of wholeness, our experience of wholeness, is fractured, is shattered. That our understanding and connection to the whole, stretched and broken to the point of believing in separation, in believing in a hierarchy of value. So I speak my word this morning, reminding the human me that there is no separation, that every expression of life expressed out of one substance has equal value, that no thing that I can do or not do in this human realm enhances or diminishes the value of this individualized expression. And what is true of me is true of all. So every expression of life is of equal value. And so I open my experience, I open my mind, I open my heart, I open my human mental processes to be with, to be present with, to fully immerse myself in the healing of the grief that is the manifestation of the lie of separation. The lie of separation that enacts itself as harmful behavior. Knowing that as I grieve, I become a participant in the healing of the whole. I say yes to being a truth teller, even in the most difficult of situations. I embrace the fullness of life. I embrace the sanctity of choice. And I remember the wholeness and the truth of being beyond the choices made. Knowing that as love permeates all, as grief is acknowledged and processed, wholeness returns, behavior changes, experience changes, and as experience changes, conditions change. And the world truly will work for all. I say yes to doing the work, to being a portal of divine expression, no matter what. Yes. And so knowing that the word spoken is the word complete, I release. I celebrate. And by release, I mean I let go of all of the mental arguments, all of the human yes buts, all of the nonsense that would negate the word spoken. I lean into it, I embrace it, and I let go. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin.